Hi, my loves. Let's do a get ready with me part 2 to my long awaited story after my arranged marriage. Here we go. I've already cleaned up my eyebrows and just put concealer on the back of my eyes, getting them prepped for some eyeshadow. Chaos has been my middle name for as long as I can remember, for over 17 years. And obviously it all began with my arranged marriage. Well, you guys already watched all that, and I left that and moved to Hawaii, furthest island from Hawaii, and took my 2 kids with me. They were only 4 and 2 at the time, and I was just a young 22-year-old, but I did it. That was chaotic in its own because I had never been on my own. I stuck to the arranged marriage and was the wife and the good girl and went to the Afghan parties and built a name for myself because I was really graceful and I was always respectful. And, I was just such a young girl who wanted to just be a good girl naturally. I didn't have it in me to want to be anything else. But then after I got divorced and left, that's when I really had to be Miss Independent and all the way on my own. And life got chaotic after that. I lived in Hawaii for a long time with the kids and had to finally come back because my divorce needed to get finalized and my ex was giving me kidnapping charges or something about my kids. So my dad was like, you need to come home. And so I flew back home. And at that time my dad was like, you're gonna have to probably live with your sister, who mind you was and still is a complete, we're not gonna go there. But at that time I was like, okay, just because he didn't want, I didn't want my kids snatched from me at the time. And, but it ended up happening anyway. He got a hold of them. And so it was really dramatic, and I was so young. And after that, pretty much my mom, everybody else had already cut me off, the family, the Afghan, the entire, community. So I just kind of was really felt lonely and alone, and living with my sister, who was just it wasn't long while living with her before I got into the night scene in Utah and started going out heavily. And I started actually maybe on my second time going out to a bar and at that bar I ran into an Afghan man who was also an Afghan Pashtun like me that lived in Utah, who I'm not going to drop names. Soon became my man, and a lot of drama happened soon after that. It's been just about a little over 16 years, and the story has never been told. Whatever the newspaper wrote wasn't all the way accurate, but I started dating this guy, and a year and a half later, he killed my 19-year-old brother. I want to set the record straight without saying way too much because I will open up Pandora's box. But as much as I had something to do with it as far as was with the man, really 99% of why my brother got killed was because of to do with a brother of mine that now also died 2 years ago, who will never live to speak his story. But because he had a whole relationship, a weird one, with 3 aunts from Pakistan that now live here in America, a weird fucking relationship, was another big reason why my brother got killed. I should say 2 aunts because one of them was really young. A million of you are gonna ask, well, how will that story begin in Pakistan? Because like I told you, when we went to Pakistan, lived with our mom, some of us with our khala, and then my brother, mostly with my dad's half-brother and sister's side. He lived with them at 13, 14. A lot of weird stuff happened, and that's going to be a different story. And I don't even know if I want to even really share all that here. My older brother owned a market. These girls worked at it. That Afghan boy used to go in, get shot from there. And then my brother, that now is no longer here, would get upset, and who knows what the girls were telling him. And it caused that feud between that boy and my brother, obviously. And so my brother held a grudge with him. He didn't care about me. My brother had split away from me after I got married because those girls got in his head and took my brother away from me and my sister. I don't know what weird witchcraft they did, what they did to manipulate him, but he was no longer close to me and my sister growing, you know, who, when we grew up together in America, we were like this, slept in one bed together, told jokes, the four of us. We grew up super, like, you know, obviously American, but like super fob in a way too, because our parents didn't give us separate rooms. We all shared a room. The moment he went to Pakistan, and who knows what happened at that uncle's house and what happened with those aunts, he became distant from the only sisters he had was me and the other one, and we were no longer close. And so when I dated that guy, he didn't care about me dating that guy. What he cared about is that guy was coming around because of those weird aunts. My sister, on her note, has just always, you know, we probably all have a weird sibling who's just always going to be done some weird stuff since I was a little girl. And Afghan boy had his own family drama. His sister had like run off with some Mexican kid who was doing crazy stuff at their house, who was breaking into cars, and he was constantly blaming my brothers. And when I'd confront my brothers, obviously they were like, no, we're not doing that. And when it come out of the box, it was his sister's ex. And so I was so sick of that, like, keep blaming my brothers, keep blaming my brothers. And I had just got out of an Afghan relationship, so I had the courage to be like, I can't do this no more with you, because all you do is any little thing that happens, it's with your sister, you come after my brothers. So one damn day, Sunday, I couldn't take it no more, and I was like, I am done with you. I was working at a salon and had my own room that I was renting out, and that Saturday night before, I was like, I can't do this no more, I'm breaking up with you. And lo and behold, when I was like, I'm done, that literally set the man off. At that time, I lived with my parents, and me and my brother, we like were neighbors. Like, his room was right next to mine. So I remember going home and knocking on his door, and he was still awake. And I was like, hey, and he's like, hey, you okay? And I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm fine. What are you doing? And you know, and he's like, he was playing Nintendo Wii or something. And I was like, yeah, I was out at a club. I was like, you didn't go out to the club? He was supposed to go to a club that night. And he was, you know, barely 19 at the time. He literally turned 19 in March. He died in April. And he literally said, no, I'm going to go when I'm 21 because I have my whole life ahead of me. He asked me if I was good. I was like, yeah, I just was like, I broke up with the guy. In my head, I thought I was doing the right thing because I was like, dude, I already left a relationship that was weird with an Afghan. Like, I don't want to do this again. He blew up my phone all night. So I turned my phone off. I also worked for Cricket. So I had this Kyocera phone and a flip phone. I turned it off, and then I needed it back on at some point because I had to use it as an alarm to wake up to do hair at my salon at 8:30 in the morning. So I turned it back on at some like 6 in the morning, and he was still blowing up my phone. So that night I really didn't get much sleep. I just kept getting blown up, and then woke up, got ready, got to that salon. This video got way too long. I need a set under my eyes. And the next day came, April 20th, and I headed to my salon. And that's when I'm gonna need to do a part 3 about what happened next, because it's already, my energy's already everywhere. I need to finish getting ready, and we'll get to part 3. This took too long, so I'm gonna have to do a part 3 to tell you what happened next.